Hi there, folks. Tony Adrani here with IU Sportcom, reporting from the Big Ten tournament here in Indianapolis, Indiana, at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Indiana Hoosiers struggled a bit today against Wisconsin. This video will be a recap of the past two games against Wisconsin today and then Penn State yesterday. Had a piece posted up on IU Sportcom. Turns out I didn't have Wi-Fi access. It didn't post right away. Lost the piece in a nutshell. Not good. So I'll recap more so the Wisconsin game just because it's current in our minds. It's really the only one that matters anymore. But Penn State as well. First off, in the Penn State game, Indiana ran away with it really. Big, sizable margin. Obviously, the big news coming out of that one was the loss of Verdell Jones for the season and his entire career at Indiana University. Verdell Jones obviously is a guy that was really starting to fit into his role with this Indiana team, and that's really what bothers me is that Verdell Jones was coming off the bench, playing a role. I was never really high on Verdell Jones, but he's playing his best basketball I think he's played at Indiana thus far. He wasn't scoring the same amount of points he may have scored. He maybe wasn't getting the same amount of assists that he always gets, but he was just playing smoothly. He was fitting into the team and giving them something extra. And the loss of him will be felt in the tournament. And I may not have said that just a couple months ago. So that's where I'm at on Verdell. It's sad to see a guy go out like that for his career, especially just, I mean, we all saw it on senior night. Those seniors have given everything they have to this program, and they didn't have to. They honored their commitments. They stayed committed to this team. They went through all of the ups and downs, 6 and 25 seasons, 10-win season, 12-win season. Finally, Indiana's going to make the tournament. Everybody just has to stay healthy through the Big Ten tournament, and they're probably going to get at least a 4 seed. And something tragic like this happens to Verdell Jones, where he goes to make a cut and his knee just gives out and he tears an ACL, and you hate to see that with anybody, but to see that happen at this time to a kid who gave everything he had to a program, and he's not even going to get to reap the benefits of everything he's put into the Indiana basketball program. I mean, it'll obviously be a fun experience because he'll get to go and travel with the team and see him in the NCAA tournament. But at the end of the day, just so disappointing for him, and I can't imagine how much it's going to hurt him seeing his teammates out there in the NCAA tournament, knowing he has nothing to give to them but his support and his cheers, and that's what's really sad about Verdell Jones right now. And then you could see kind of his loss today. Indiana started the game pretty well. I mean, they were clicking offensively. Their defense was not bad initially. It was the second chance points they were giving up in the first 10 minutes of the game that hurt them. At one point in the game, I think it was 25-15. Wisconsin was knocking down shot after shot. A large amount of those uncontested. Indiana's going to the zone never really makes sense to me. Against Wisconsin, I think they match up fairly well on the defensive end against Wisconsin, especially on a night where Jordan Taylor is not playing that well. But at the end of the day, Indiana, they kept clawing back in it, clawing back in it. Whether it was Christian Watford hitting two big threes or Jordan Holes putting the team on his back, they were in the game at the end. And what it ultimately came down to was that they could never get over that hump. They were down 10, 11 points. They'd get it down to 4, then they'd get back down by 9. They'd get it down to 3, back up to 7, back down to 2. But they could never take the lead. And I think that it was almost of a mental block there. I mean, they had opportunities. Don't get me wrong, the officiating was bad, but it was bad for IU and Wisconsin both. I'm not sure that I've ever seen a travel called 2 passes after the guy traveled, and I saw that tonight, and that was actually on Wisconsin. Jordan Holes pivots, he gets called for travels, a lot of silly fouls called in the game, but it was bad for both sides, and ultimately the officiating didn't cost IU the basketball game, and that's what it comes down to. You look at Jordan Holes' statistics from this afternoon against Wisconsin: 7 for 10 field goals, only shot one three-pointer, which was odd. Indiana only shot 6 as a team, which was somewhat odd to see, but Wisconsin was taking that away from them. Jordan Holes mentioned in his press conference that he was just trying to really attack the pick and roll aggressively, and most of his shots were pull up jumpers, and he wasn't going to force threes if they weren't there. And he's been known to do that from time to time, so I was okay with that. I mean, he had a solid night: 17 points, had a couple rebounds, 2 assists. He did have 3 turnovers, though. Indiana only 10 turnovers as a team, though. Not terrible. You look at guys' minutes; they were spread apart pretty well. Jordan Holes 29, Watford 29, Oladipo 29, Sheehy 31, Zeller 31. Will Sheehy, who also went out with an injury at one point in this game, came back to a loud ovation from the crowd at the beginning of the second half. Gave IU a bit of a spark. He shot 3 of 4 on the night, 6 points. You look at Victor Oladipo, somebody who really struggled against Wisconsin. He was attacking the rim, he was getting to the rim. He just could not finish. He finished the night 2 of 12, 3 of 5 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 7 points, 4 assists. So wasn't just an awful game for Oladipo. He had 2 turnovers as well, but they need him to finish. I mean, he's been the best finisher on the team the entire season. He can't just falter down the stretch here in the Big Ten tournament. Austin Etherington, a guy who got in early, didn't see a lot of action though. He got in the first half, but he only played 3 minutes for the game. You look at Remy Abel, went 2 for 3 on the night, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, a couple boards, 5 points, no assists though. Tom Pritchard, typical Tom Pritchard stat line, not really anything but minutes. He's just kind of there to fill minutes when Cody Zeller isn't in the game. Matt Roth was somewhat odd to see. He only shot one shot. He shot one three-pointer, 0 of 1 for the game. Had one rebound, but he did have, and then he did have an assist, which was to Christian Watford for a three-point bucket. Derek Elston, another guy you never know what you're going to get with him. I mean, that's just the way he's been the entire season. He's been much more consistent this season than he's been in the past, but still, you don't know what you're going to get from him. He's 1 for 2, 3 rebounds, a couple points, a turnover, 14 minutes. It's just Elston, it bugs me sometimes because he just wants to score, and you can tell that in his demeanor in his game. He's not looking to pass. As soon as he catches the ball, it's to the rim. And that's not a bad trait for some guys, but for Elston, he's got to learn to slow it down a bit. And then you look at Cody Zeller, 5 of 9, 7 of 8 from the free throw line, 17 points, 4 fouls though, 1 turnover. The one stat that really stands out is Cody Zeller had 1 rebound, and it was on the offensive end, and that was it. If you can't get a defensive rebound from Cody Zeller when he plays 31 minutes, your team is going to struggle. And Indiana really, they won the rebounding battle on defensive wise. I mean, they won the rebounding battle as a whole 30 to 28 over Wisconsin. Wisconsin held the offensive rebounding battle 11 to 10, but what it really came down to is just that Indiana, when Wisconsin was getting offensive rebounds, Indiana just uh, couldn't do as well in the first half, and that's kind of how Wisconsin built their lead. And then second half, Indiana was able to get some second chance points. They actually outscored Wisconsin 11 to 8 in second chance points, but it wasn't enough. It was almost too little, too late. And I mean, Indiana just, like I said, could not get over that hump. But I mean, the story of the day has to be Rob Wilson, a guy who averaged 2 points per game for his entire career. He's a senior now. He scored less than 100 points in his entire career, and he scores on 11 of 16 shooting, 7 of 10 from the three-point line, scores 30 points on Indiana, and he was a difference maker. I mean, you cannot expect a guy who scores 2 points per game, or let a guy score 2 points per game, score 30 points on you. You're going to give yourself no shot. Then you've got Bergeron, 5-9 shooting, 5-5 from the free throw line, 16 points, 9 rebounds. Pretty much played Cody Zeller even in terms of points, and he definitely out-rebounded Zeller. 3 offensive rebounds for him. Jordan Taylor really did not have a good game. Jordan Taylor shot 3 of 12, 2 of 5 from the three-point line, made all his free throws down the stretch. 12 points in 32 minutes. It was just, I mean, at the end of the day, it was Rob Wilson. When the guy who does not score very often erupts for 30, obviously that's going to give a team an edge. And that's what Wisconsin had today with Rob Wilson. Looking at some of the other stats from this game, Indiana led points in the paint 24 to 18. Wisconsin led in points off turnovers 12 to 7. As I mentioned earlier, Indiana wins the second chance points 11 to 8. And Indiana also wins in the fast break points in 7 to 5. You look at the bench points. Obviously, Rob Wilson comes off the bench for Wisconsin. He's actually the only guy on the bench to score for Wisconsin, but the Wisconsin bench outscored Indiana's 30 to 7. And Indiana's depth is something that has been a strong point for them this entire season. Obviously, the loss of Verdell Jones hurt them today. They were not able to bring in a stable guy, a solid perimeter defender as well, which they could have used when guarding Wilson and Jordan Taylor. But for Indiana, it's not that bad of a loss. I mean, you never want to lose in a tournament, but you get 2 more days rest. Wisconsin played about as well as they were going to in terms of everybody outside of Jordan Taylor. The team was clicking. The guys were hitting shots. I mean, 13 of 26 from the three-point line for Wisconsin. They played a faster pace. The fact they scored 79 points and gave up 71 is amazing. I mean, if you told me that was the score of the game, I would have guessed Indiana won, just because that plays the Indiana's pace and nowhere near Wisconsin's. And like I said, I mean, guys just hit shots for Wisconsin, and Indiana just didn't fall today. They gave themselves a chance towards the end. They played toe to toe with Wisconsin, even though they were playing lights out. And at the end of the day, it may have been the difference between a 3 and the 4 seed. That's the biggest difference right now for the NCAA tournament is that if Indiana won this game, they may have been a 3 seed. Now that they lost, they're looking at a 4 seed right in the eye, and that means a whole lot in terms of who type of team they're going to play. It also means a whole lot where they're going to play. So that's where this Wisconsin loss really hurts them. I don't think it really hurts them in terms of their confidence. They played a good team, toe to toe, a good team that was playing some of their best ball they've played the entire year. So Indiana, they can't be too discouraged about this, and I mean, they can't be too discouraged about it because they're going to play in the NCAA tournament, and at the end of the day, the NCAA tournament is the ultimate goal, obviously, and they want to get as far as they possibly can in there. I think this is an Indiana team that can go far in the NCAA tournament, but I also think it's a team that if they falter and they don't have confidence, they could lose in the first round. But it was fun covering the Hoosiers at the Big Ten tournament. Glad I had the opportunity with IU Sportcom to do that. Would have been nice for Hoosier fans if they were able to advance to the weekend, Saturday, Sunday games. But at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is going far in the NCAA tournament, and Indiana still has the opportunity to do that. But from Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, I'm Tony Adrania from IU Sportcom. Thank you for watching.